Hey guys, thanks for helping us get to 1,000 subscribers, and thanks for those of you who tuned into our live stream a couple days ago. We did a quick Q&A, just taking some of your questions, having a fun time in the chat. We had a lot of fun doing that. I'm sure we'll find another excuse to do that again, but here is a edited version. This has better audio. We have some of the cards that we talk about pop up on camera. This should just be a better way for you to absorb that live stream if you missed it first time around. Hope you enjoy, and again, we'll find another opportunity to do this again in the future.
We're live.
Is anybody in the chat? Anybody here? Well, hello to you, Michael from England.
Hi,
Michael from England. What is up, my guy? I have the chat open so I can see if you guys have any questions. Hey, thanks for helping us get to 1,000 subscribers here at Geek and Seek. That's why we're doing this live stream today. We have a couple questions that we had already submitted to us that we're going to answer. And then once we get through those, we'll go ahead and take any other questions. We're going to be here for about an hour. And then we also have our other two players, Tommy and Preston, are probably going to join us. Let's go down the row. Hi, I'm Morgan.
Hi, I'm Steven.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And then again, Tommy and Preston should be joining us later. But we'll go ahead and answer the couple questions we have submitted already. And then we'll go ahead and take other questions. And again, we'll be here for about an hour. Should we start with a Mimi one or a real question?
Let's go with a meme one.
Yeah,
let's
let's
keep it light at first.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna slightly edit the wording on this because it's a little PG-13, and we try to keep it PG at this channel. But our comment is, who is the most? How do I PG this? Who is the member of the group you would most likely make a child with?
I see. I see.
We are all men here biologically,
but as Jeff Goldblum once said, life
finds a way.
Finds a way.
It's a great answer. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, if anyone, no one's gonna answer that question.
So who would you say, and why would you say me?
Oh, okay.
I want to say statistically, Morgan's the only father of the group.
Ooh, this is true.
So
fertile seed.
Yes. I guess Jason, because Jason's probably the best looking fellow in the group, I suppose.
Is it?
Other than myself.
It's not gay for you, bro. Oh yeah, that's facts.
You know, Morgan is. You know, I've always kind of thought you were beautiful, Morgan.
We shouldn't have started with that question. We should have started with the real one.
That was the perfect question to start with because Preston isn't here.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah.
That's a great point. We'll get that one out of the way before Preston gets here, because then he would have gone off. It would have been hard to keep this a PG channel.
No.
All right. So Tobias Grafton asks, who is the best player? Like in our group, I would say it's different degrees.
Yeah.
I feel like Jason and I are very optimal players. Like we try to think of like what is like the genuine like best way to play a certain deck or make sure we're running a lot of interaction.
Yeah, when it comes to us, like efficiency is the number one thing. If you're utilizing all of the mana that you have on every turn that you can, that's what Morgan and I want to do.
So I would say that in that perspective, it would probably be Jason or I. But if we're talking about just getting lucky and getting your giant creatures in play, it's Preston. I don't know how he always does it, but do you have an answer, Steven?
Thanks for leaving me out of this equation. So
Steven's a good player. He just gets like mana screwed a lot and stuff.
Which like I've shared my decks with other people, and they're just like, oh yeah, so I don't get why you're getting mana screwed, or like I just get like unlucky card draw. I think a lot. So
yeah, Steven runs like an appropriate amount. Well, here's the other thing that we've never like openly stated this on the show before, but we technically do unlimited mulligans before we start the game, because I am more if we're just playing a normal game, I just say like one friendly mull. But for the gameplay series, I want to make like content that's like actually like exciting and engaging and has interaction. So like I'd rather you just keep a good hand, and if that means taking 5 mulligans, that's what it means. Jason runs like 30 lands in his decks, so he takes all those mulligans.
34.
Yeah, so it's on the low end. So it's on the low end. And then Steven, he runs like a good amount, like depending on the deck is like what, 38 or so, maybe more. Yeah. So he runs a good amount. So the fact that Steven like gets mana screwed or whatever fairly frequently is a little surprising.
And I want to say this about that. we don't sit here for 10 minutes before we record these games trying to get like the perfect hand. You know, we just like
Just
No, it's
something
like, is this
good.
keepable or
something
not?
that you can work with. You know,
Do I have
if you
do I have three lands
lands
and a card draw spell, or do I have a creature,
or like even like
if my
3
hand
lands,
has 7, if my card is if my hand is full of 7 drops, I can't keep that obviously.
Yeah,
you know?
no. It's like we want to like if you can do something on turn 1 and then do something on turn 2 and then maybe you have to wait until turn 4 or 5 to do something. That's a keepable hand and that's what we go with. But we're not looking for like, all right, turn 1 Soul Ring, turn 2 Arcane or then Arcane Signet, and then turn 2 drop your commander and win the game on turn 3. We're not doing that. We just want to have a fun game, but we don't want somebody to sit there on camera doing absolutely nothing because they're not drawing into their good stuff.
Mm-hmm. A couple things I'm seeing here in the chat. Michael Siegert says, it's not gay if it's your bros. Agreed. And then there was something else in response to a question we've already talked about. Baker says, I run 30 in all of my decks. And honestly, Baker, I think that really just has to do with your curve more than anything. Like, man, if you're running like a bunch of 1 and 2 drop cards, like Laura says, a companion or something, you don't need a lot of lands. Or if you're like, if you have like a lot of, what's it called? Like filtering cards, like blue filter cards. If you have a lot of those, you could also get away. There's a lot. I think there's multiple situations where like there's no right or wrong answer to how many lands you run. But I'm just saying that like statistically speaking, you're less likely to have a keepable hand if you do that the first go around. Just statistically speaking. But if you... There's plenty of decks where you can get away with only running 30 lands. There's plenty of situations where that's acceptable.
And
so
my logic for only running about 34 to 35 lands in a deck is I just think about it like, you know, there's 99 cards in the deck. If I have 34 of them are lands, that means every draw I have a 1/3 chance of drawing a land. And that typically works out for me more times than not. And, you know...
Because keep in mind, also, on those turns in between, you're likely to either get a Talisman in play or play a ramp spell. Like, statistically, you're probably at least keeping up, if not getting ahead, even using that logic. So, Benjamin asks, what's your favorite color combination to play? Jason, you want to start us off?
Probably. And you know, you guys might be surprised by this. I bet they expect me to say something with blue, but it's actually black-white. That's my favorite color combination. Yeah, just because.
Well, your favorite deck is Orzhov.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Let's see.
Go back and watch episode 4 if you haven't of Upkeep.
A good one.
Yeah,
That is a good one.
that's our most viewed video on the channel. Did you guys know that?
We sitting at 12,000 views
12,000
still.
Something like
last
that.
I
Yeah.
checked.
Thank you guys so much for that. By the way, really appreciate it.
That's one of my favorite games we filmed. There's
That game was so fun.
There's
It
one
was
or
so
two
much
games.
fun.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 games that haven't come out yet that I thought were more fun that when we filmed them, but just like going back and editing that game and watching it a couple more times, I'm like, oh man, that one was really good.
Do we know when the 5-color game is coming out?
Next week.
Yeah, so I have my schedule over there. It's coming out Friday, January 20th is when that game comes out. So it's the next
game was
episode.
That game
nuts.
was so much fun.
That's up
was
there.
nuts.
That's up there. We're filming episode 10 tonight. Yeah, so we have quite a bit backed up. Steven, what's your favorite color combination?
Well, kind of going off Jason with the deck, his favorite deck in that video, I had a Simic deck. I really like Simic. Call me a disgusting player. I really like I like doing obnoxious things. I like getting really big creatures. I like big creatures. So, I mean...
Jason, Brett in the chat agrees with you. That's Orzhov's the best.
It's just...
Brett.
It's just so there's so much that you can do. There's a lot of different fun combos. I don't even mean like win combos. Like there's just a
like
lot
good
of,
synergy.
Yeah, they
Synergy's the word
synergize
you're
really
looking
well
for.
together. Especially with how powerful White has become over the past like 4 or 5 years. White has gotten a lot of stuff.
My favorite color combination is Esper, so white, blue, black. I am currently building my, I think, 4th Esper deck. I just think it's so cool because, like, I like the control-y aspect of just Dimir, black, blue, but then adding white, I feel like just adds a little something else. Like, and people like to meme on White, man, but let's be real. Like, White is not as bad as it used to be. White is actually pretty good in the last couple of years. And I think it brings a decent amount to the table. And if we're just talking land ramp, which blue and black don't have, White's like the second best color in that department, behind green, obviously.
I mean, you know, black has black and red really have like ritual type effects.
Yeah,
that,
I mean, it's not like they
mana,
don't. Every color can kind of ramp except for blue. Blue,
yeah, but blue doesn't need it.
Blue's got its own thing going on.
Wizards, if you ever watch this or see this, do not give blue ramp, please. That is not what we're saying. We do not need more things that blue doesn't do. We don't need to add stuff.
I actually vaguely disagree because I think artifact ramp is already the way that blue wants to ramp. And when we went to Ixalan the first time several years ago, that they were one of the first, like when that was the first set to have treasure tokens, and it was supposed to be like the pirate mechanic. So like it was the Golgari guild, so it was red, blue, black. And I felt like that was a good synergistic way for blue to ramp. But then, like, as we've gone forward, it's like blue doesn't make as many treasures as some of the other colors. So I feel like that was kind of a miss. I feel like if blue needs some kind of ramp, and I feel like that's a good synergistic way to do it because blue likes artifacts so much. But
here's my counter to that. You know what blue's ramp is? Blue's ramp is card draw. That's the thing that blue does the absolute best, is draw cards. And if you just have more resources available to you in your hand, then, you know, you're probably going to come up with a good enough option where maybe you don't need that ramp spell to get an extra land or 2 extra lands out. But I just think blue is really strong, and I don't think we need to make it stronger.
Yeah. Michael in the chat says Gruul's his favorite color combination, and he just started playing early when Kamigawa Neon Dynasty came out. First deck being Chishiro. You know what, Michael? That's a really cool precon. I think Neon Dynasty is one of the best sets in recent years. Like, since I've been playing Magic, I started playing in summer of 2016. Since then, that's in my top 5 favorite standard sets. So I'm actually, the 1-year anniversary is coming up next month. I'm going to buy a box so we can draft it again just because it's so cool. But I hope you're enjoying the game. And then Baker also says in the chat, congrats on the growth. He's been here since 300. So thanks.
Oh, well, thanks for sticking around, Baker. Appreciate it, man.
Baker, you an OG.
OG, faux show. Let's play. Ask, would you consider playing over Spell Table? Yes, I actually just used Spell Table for the first time like a week or 2 ago. I was supposed to join on another YouTube channel, and they play over that. And being a dad makes your scheduling really complicated. So it didn't work out, but I tried it out anyways just to get used to it. I think it would be really cool to eventually, I don't think we're quite there yet as far as growth goes, but when we get a little bit bigger, I would like to have it to where we have multiple series, like Upkeep, the show we've been doing, keep doing that. But then also we could do like a Magic Online series. And then we could also do a Spell Table series, and we could do like 1 a month or something like that for those, just to have other things going at the same as well. Because Spell Table is really sweet. So that's just like webcam magic. Have you guys used Spell Table before?
I have not, no.
I've used Spell Table a couple times. One of my friends, he was going to school in Wichita for a bit, and he was like one of the first guys that I ever played Magic with. Really, like the main reason that I got into Magic was because of this dude. And yeah, we would get on Spell Table and set up the camera, and we'd play. You could play with random people on Spell Table. For those of you that have never used it before or done it, you just make an open lobby, and you'll have random people from all over the world join in and play with you. And it's a lot of fun. It really is.
It is. It's really cool. It's going to be my new go-to way to play test decks, especially for Upkeep, because we're building decks. Honestly, I have so many Commander decks that for Upkeep, I usually, for whatever topic we're doing, I can just grab a deck I already have. But there have been a couple times where I've had to build new decks, and I think Spell Table is going to be my new favorite way to just play test new decks. Here's a similar question. This is from Rico Garcia Perez. Did you... oh, hang on. I think there's a typo in here. Would you guys ever play community deck lists? For example, I would send you my Miram list, and you would either build it or proxy it. So yes, but I think the easiest way to do that would be what I suggested with doing Magic Online. If we did a series where like once a month we were doing like it on Magic Online or something, it's so cheap and easy to build decks on Magic Online that I think that would be a good option. Like if we, like I would, at that point, I would encourage us play viewer submitted decks. Like if you wanted, like I would love to play decks that other people are doing, which actually has to do with our game that we're filming tonight. Everyone's playing a deck. So this is going to be Upkeep episode 10. So it's not coming out for like another month or so, but everyone's playing one of my decks. And it's just going to be really interesting to see how different players think when they're constructing decks. And I like exploring that. So I would love to do that. But what do you guys think? Like if we did a series on Magic Online or something, is that something you would want to explore, is like the idea of playing other people's decks or whatever?
So,
just not Jason's decks?
that would get out of hand real quick. Something I loved about the Christmas episode was playing with a deck that we've never really played before. Whether it's a color combo that we've never really played, or just the overall theme of the deck, what the deck's supposed to do, that play style we just haven't done before. And I really liked the Christmas episode because I played with a deck that I wouldn't really think about building myself, and I had a lot of fun playing that deck. So yeah, absolutely, I'd love to do that.
I would do something like that, absolutely. One of my favorite things about doing something like that is you get introduced to cards that either you've never heard of before, never seen, or you use cards that you know about in a way that you never would have thought of before, just because of the way that the deck is built. That's one of my favorite things about this game is there's no one way to play it. Like Commander specifically, obviously there are other formats, but in Commander there's not just one thing that you can do. You can have an entire deck that's structured around what the characters on the cards have. Like if all the characters on the cards have special hats, or if they're all riding an animal of some kind. You can
on Commander Clash recently, Phil played a deck that was just Buff Guy Tribal. It was
Buff Guy Tribal.
Yeah. And some of it was actually good, but there's no synergy. It's like, here's a 1-mana 1/1, and it's just the guy's ripped in the art. Like you can't. See, why would you ever build that unless you were on Magic Online?
Yeah, but it's just
like
fun
you can do fun stuff like that. Yeah.
So I think that'd be a great idea, and plus it'd be interesting to see what the fan base has compiled. Yeah,
because we play with the same 5 or 6 people most of the time. Like occasionally we'll play with other people, but just getting to reach out to other people, I think would be just so cool. Michael and the Yellow Ninja Dude seem to be having this conversation where a lot of their play group, they like to play a lot of formats other than Commander. And let me tell you, I'm kind of in the same boat. But the other way around, because they mostly like Commander, and I love other formats. I'm a Modern guy. I would play Modern every day if I could. I love it. I love drafting. I love playing sealed. Standard's really fun, but I haven't played paper Standard in years because it's the economy on Arena sucks, but at least if you're smart about your wildcard usage, you can play Standard for basically free on Arena. And I would just encourage you that that's part of what's beautiful about this game is, yes, like what Jason was just saying, there's a lot of different decks that you can use and different strategies you can try. There's also just other formats. There's lots of ways to play this game, and I think that's part of what is so amazing about this game. And I made a video about this a couple months ago. Hey, Tommy's here.
I found some friends outside.
Okay, we got the rest of the team here.
Yay! The whole group's here.
Oh yeah, just to finish this up while they're coming in and getting situated. I made a video about this a couple months ago talking about how I'm not convinced that Commander's not a fad, and that other formats are going to come and go in popularity, because Commander just became the top dog a few months ago, or a couple years ago, sorry. So I feel like that's going to come and go, and I think it's important that people are at least familiar with other stuff, but it's perfectly fine for you to have a favorite format and whatnot. Tommy, Preston, say hi.
Hey.
Howdy.
Everyone nice and snug?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
getting nice and close.
I'm glad.
Jason's kind of.
I'm glad I moved the table before we did this. Otherwise, this would have been a nightmare. We just barely got room for everyone in here. We were just talking about we had a couple questions that led us to talking about how we might eventually want to do 2 different series as well on top of Upkeep, where one we play on Spell Table, and then one where we play on Magic Online once a month. With no context, what do you guys think about the idea and like the pros of maybe doing something like that? Just Tommy and Preston, since you guys just got here.
I don't know if I have a good setup for Spell Table, but I could definitely do the arena one.
Yeah.
Or
online.
Magic Online.
Yeah, I've never messed with like Magic Online or Spell Table or any of that stuff. So like I don't know exactly what it would take. But I mean, I'd be open to it for sure. So
Yeah. So I think I only have. Oh, I have 2 more questions on here that are previously submitted questions. Then we'll go ahead and get into the questions that you guys have in the chat. So Michael Siegert. Oh, hey, he's been paying attention for a couple days about this. Is with the talk about Sol Ring, are there any cards that you think should be banned or unbanned? I'll let you guys take this for the most part, but real quick, I'll just say that the next episode of the podcast that I want to do is talking about fixing the ban list. And my biggest thing is I want to bring back the banned as commander list.
I was going to say
I would rather have a separate list that's the actual ban list, and then a list for the 99 and a list for commanders, 2 separate ban lists. We used to have that and we got rid of it several years ago. I think we should bring that back. I think that wouldn't fix all the problems, obviously. Some cards would probably still have to stay banned, but like Grizzlebrand, for example, if you have access to that card every single game because it's in your command zone, it's broken. But if it's in your 99, yes, you're in the tutor colors, but you have to play for it harder. So I think there are certain cards that if we brought the 2 separate ban lists back, that it could open up for more interesting experiences. But what do you guys think about that real quick while I'm going through here and looking for other questions?
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, I'd say I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think, you know, I like I've said before on the show and in like the after show and stuff, I haven't been like into Commander for a super long time, but the fact that that used to be a thing and it's not anymore doesn't even make sense to me, because it's just like there's so many cards that if you play them in the 99, they're not that bad. They're powerful, sure, but they're not like, you know, they're not game breaking. They're not going to insta win you the game all the time. But if you have access, like Morgan said, if you have access to them every single game from the beginning because it's in your command zone, yeah, it's busted, and vice versa. There's stuff that is way more powerful in the 99 than it could be for a commander and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, I think that as far as any like individual cards that I think should be banned, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not super into the format.
Maybe
so.
Dockside Extortionist.
Maybe. Yeah, I think Dockside is fine. I think it's fine.
Bruh.
I agree that all the mana rocks that give more than you put into them should be banned.
So Sol Ring.
Yeah, I like that.
Mana Vault.
All of
They're just haters.
Yeah.
Just haters.
I want to have fun
okay,
and not spend $1 million.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like, I don't believe in the idea of banning things because they're expensive, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of cards on the reserved list that are banned, but then there's a lot that are not banned,
right.
And it's like, I think my biggest thing with and we'll talk about this when we do that podcast episode, is I just want more consistency with the rules committee, because there are some cards that it's like, yeah, this is too strong, and then they let things like Dockside Extortionist and Sol Ring and Guy's Cradle stay legal in the format. It's like,
Sol Ring isn't that bad. It's not.
It's an automatic include in every single deck you make.
If anything, if we put power aside, because I think power, it's only kind of problematic. It's not like brutally problematic. But if we put power aside, and we just talk about the health of the format and encouraging creativity, don't you think that a card that is an auto include in like 99% of decks is like poopy?
I mean, not really, just because that's a broad generalization that you'd have to make about a lot of cards.
Well, sure.
Because
Sure.
we going to ban Rhystic Study because it's an auto include in almost every blue deck?
Yes.
Maybe.
I don't. No, I actually disagree with the Rhystic Study one.
That's
because
I'm
Rhystic
just
Study.
busting your chops a little.
Are we going to ban Teferi's Protection because it's basically an auto include in any deck that has white in it?
No, because they've been reprinting it and keeping it affordable. That was my other kind of thing as I was trying to get. Is I don't like these cards that are going to be staples. Like, it's okay if a format has staples. Every format has staples.
Right.
The thing is that we need to keep them affordable. Sol Ring has been reprinted every set. It's like $1, you know? But then, like, Teferi's Protection, it's like, even with a decent amount of reprints, it's not like printed in every precon or anything, but it gets a decent amount of reprints, and it's still like a $20 card.
Yeah.
You know, so it's okay if we have staples, but we should try to keep them affordable.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. As far as like cards that I think should be banned, I'm so sick and tired of seeing people play Demonic Consultation and then or Thassa's Oracle, and then with Thassa's Oracle's trigger on the stack, play Demonic Consultation and exile their whole library.
Yeah.
That's so
I agree.
lame.
The yellow ninja dude.
Come on, dude. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Why do we need it? And
Yeah.
then
Really cool the first 1,000 times it happened, but
No.
1,000th first.
no, it wasn't.
literally-
It wasn't even cool the first
No,
time.
it's
It
such a
maybe the first time you've
disappointing
seen
way
it.
to lose a game.
was
But
just
yeah,
it's
like
so
exactly.
anticlimactic.
the first time anyone ever did that to me, I was like, oh,
So
yeah, I
just-
guess you win.
I just
Cool.
lose now.
The
Cool, great. I
the
mean,
yellow ninja dude in the chat says, "I feel like EDH and CEDH should be two different formats," and I agree with that because,
absolutely.
like,
100%.
because like
100%.
Kadejo, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, says fast mana ban ? And like in CEDH, no, fast mana is like important, but in like casual EDH,
I believe it could be pronounced Kadejo.
Kadejo. I like that. We'll say that.
A card that I think should be unbanned. Golos. Why did
defend your answer?
I was gonna say, gonna need some context on that one, buddy.
Okay, so
There are
so prefix. I agree that there needs to be some kind of generic 5-color good stuff commander. There needs to be something for that. But is that the right option? Continue.
I just think that there are many ways in each color to keep Golos in check. I mean, it's an artifact creature. Green has a good amount of artifact destruction. And I mean, green also has Beast Within, which targets any permanent. Blue has counter magic. You can counter triggered abilities. You can counter activated abilities. You can counter Golos being cast. Black is good about destroying creatures. White is all about balance. It has a lot of stacks pieces that can keep stuff in check.
Also board wipes.
And board wipes, yes.
I mean, kind of a obvious thing, but yeah, board wipes will.
Red is another
definitely
one.
get rid of it.
Red is another one that can do a lot of damage to creatures and get them off the board, and it also has some cards that target artifacts. When that happened, I just didn't understand it because I played against a good amount of people who had Golos decks, and I never once felt like it was overpowering, like I had no shot to beat them. That was never. I mean, unless you build a 10 out of 10 competitive deck, but I mean, you could have anybody as a commander and have a 10 out of 10 competitive deck, and it would be tough to beat.
We definitely have stronger, still legal commander options.
Yes, 100%. That one just didn't make sense to me. It's powerful, yes, and after you do all of the math with, you know, how much its ability costs and what you get out of it, you do end up coming ahead on mana, but it's by like one mana. It's not a bunch, you know.
It is pronounced Kadeo. Thanks for clarification. So last question, the last already submitted question before we get to the questions that are in the chat. This is from Michael Myers. Hopefully it's not the Michael Myers. Asks, what quality of life improvements would you like to see either in Magic or your own channel? For the channel, couple things. One, I want to get an extra camera. I would like to do like what most gameplay series do, where they have one camera pointing at one side of the table and one camera pointing at the other side of the table. Would it make my editing take longer? A little, but I think it would just... I think what makes our channel fun is the social aspect of it. I like that we make jokes about plays and stuff like that. So I want to like enhance that more. So like an extra camera would be the main thing for me. And then in Magic itself, I don't know. I know what you're asking, but I'm not sure what the best answer to that question is. But what about you guys? Are there any I mean, I should play better. I should I should take better time. Like in episode 3 of our series, I missed so many. I won the game, but I missed so many triggers because I was like just playing fast. And I just know that for myself, not necessarily for the channel, but as a quality of life thing for myself, I need to slow down. I need to take my time.
I was fighting
not
a sneeze.
Not to the point of Tommy's.
Can we
Tommy
repeat the
takes
question?
5 years to do a turn. But
Listen, I'm getting better about that. It used to be a lot worse, but also to that point, literally the episode that went up on Friday with me completely forgetting the legendary rule is a thing and doubling Sword of the Animist. In my defense, no one else caught it. No one else caught it.
Okay, so
and
one,
the
no
game
one caught
was
it.
like a 10-minute game. So
Yeah,
it's
so
not
one,
like,
yeah,
it
so
didn't do much.
yeah, so one, you, no one else caught it, so sure, and then two, you died before the turn rotation came back to you.
Yeah, literally,
So
I
it
didn't even get to
matter.
do anything with it because I died before it got back to me. So like,
The Magic the
Yeah,
Gathering
oops, sorry.
gods punished Tommy for his sins.
they did. They
And he
did.
took
They
the
came
rest
on
of you out with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you just mean Preston punished him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Magic
Okay,
Gods,
what's up?
Preston,
Whoa,
same
whoa,
thing.
Well, it's our newest video. Maybe not spoil the whole thing, but it was brutal. Okay, just
It was-
if you haven't
Look at
seen,
the length of the video, and that'll tell you everything you need to know.
all of our gameplay series are in like the 45 to 50-minute range, and then that one's like 20 minutes, not even 20 minutes.
Not even. It's like 17 minutes.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the newest episode of Upkeep, we were playing Voltron, which I knew that was going to be a quick game anyways.
Right.
But
When
but
you hear the
what about
words-
you guys? Do you have
when
any
you hear the words
quality of
light
life
pause.
things? Do you guys have any quality of life things that you would like to fix in either Magic or your play style or anything like that?
Proxies need to just, as time goes on, people need to get cooler with proxies. I think
I've talked about that a little bit on the channel, like my own perspective on proxies has changed, which I think the $1,000 booster thing.
Listen, we could do an entire episode of the show about that.
Well,
but
and I mentioned this in a short that I made a couple months ago, but like I kind of thought when they first announced it, I made like a 4-minute joke video about it, and then I moved on with my life. And I kind of thought that that's what the rest of the community would do. I kind of thought that we would be like, this is stupid. Almost no one's going to buy this. Oh, well, we'll move on with our lives. And that's not what happened. What happened is that people were mad, and they stayed mad, and people were getting out of the game, and like, I guess the benefit of that is it really was like, for a lot of people, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back for being like, yeah, let's just do proxies. And, you know, again, if you're not going to make staples affordable, proxy them, you know?
Right.
So I think that's like a good thing that came out of it, but like the negative reception is like way worse than I was expecting. I really did think that people were just going to be like, that's dumb, and move on with their lives, and that's not what happened. But
I think, and not to hold on to this topic for too long, but I think a lot of the other circumstances along with when those came out didn't help the situation at all. But anyway, we can talk about that later.
I probably just need to build decks in a different way. I build a lot of decks that like to do a lot on my turn. You know, like we've talked about it before. Where like I like to play, solitaire. Just have as many cards on my side of the board as possible. Do as much on my turn as possible. Because it's fun. I enjoy doing that. I have a lot of fun, and it's a lot of cool stuff going on. But
It's a lot to keep up with.
yeah, there's a lot to keep up
there
with
are
for
a couple.
me.
There are a couple times where I feel like I'm fading out. Like I'm like, oh yeah,
you
he's
still
still going.
going?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
it can
running
get-
joke is that if you need to take a bathroom break, go on Jason's turn.
Yeah.
You probably won't be done by
We
the time
really
you
do
get
that.
back.
We really
We've
do
done
take
that.
bathroom breaks on
I've
his
done
turn
that.
sometimes.
Everyone's done that. So
Yeah, I take a long time. So I probably just need to do less of that. But God, it's hard. It's so much fun to do so many things in one turn.
No, I agree.
I agree with what Preston said about the proxies, though. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
for a while I was all like, yeah, I don't care if you proxy stuff as long as you actually own a copy of the card.
Yeah, because
But
I do a thing like that. I've made a video about like my binder system where it's like just have one copy of the expensive card, and then you can proxy it up for all your other decks. You can be like, I really do have this. I just don't want to buy multiple copies. So like that kind of thing. You mean? Yeah. But even then, I don't know.
Even as
I don't
has
expect
gone
you to
on-
buy a Gaia's Cradle if your deck needs it.
Even as time has gone on, though, I'm just like, you know what? Do whatever. Print whatever.
Yeah.
Buy like a $4 proxy online that looks like an actual Magic card,
Yeah.
feels like an actual Magic card.
That's the
so
other
you can
thing
slide
too.
it
Is
into your
like if
deck.
you're gonna use proxies, make it like obvious that it's a proxy. One, make it obvious of what it is. Don't just have like it's like a drawing and it's like, oh, it's this card. It's like, okay, what does that do?
It's a
Make
stick
it
figure
make
on
it
a
like
thing.
legible. Make it so you can actually read what it does. But also, don't make it a counterfeit, right? Like don't like trying to trick people. But the other thing about proxies that we've brought up in this gameplay series in episode 1 was Preston had his life gain deck stolen from him, and he rebuilt it. But he had like Doubling Season, which is like a $70 card in there. We do not expect the guy to go build
that deck again from scratch. So there are some proxies in that deck.
Which, by the way, to the person who stole Preston's cards, you suck, dude.
Suck
You're
so hard.
such a
That's
loser.
Whack.
Oh my gosh. Freaking losers.
My thing on proxies with that especially is that just like Commander's a casual format. As long as everyone in your play group and whoever you sit down at a table with is cool with it, why get upset about it is my whole thing. I mean, it's one thing if you're trying to go to like a CEDH tournament and you've got half proxies, that's one thing. Even then I could make an argument for sometimes of that, but
Tommy, a tournament in this day and age, that's cute.
well,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, somebody
But,
said
like,
this
I mean,
in the
it's
chat, and it goes right along. It's a turn 0 conversation.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think, and yeah, turn 0 it for sure. But also, we're just at the point where like most people are on the same page at this point. But I'm glad to see in the chat that a lot of people are on the same page as me. Where like we're bad about missing triggers, and like we agree that we just need to slow down. So I'm glad I'm not the only person. But before we start taking the actual questions that are in the chat here, any other quality of life things? I don't think I've heard Steven say anything, and maybe Preston, have you said anything about quality? Oh, you were talking about the proxies, yeah. Was there anything that you wanted to mention specifically, Steven?
I think just personally, I should try to build decks that are just different from my normal play style.
You play a lot of green.
Pretty much, yeah. I do
That's
play
another thing.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a good color, so I don't blame you. But yeah,
Yeah.
colors we're not familiar with.
Yeah, or just combos.
But that I think
just
that's
haven't thought of.
another good thing about our series is like eventually we're going to be branching out into other topics that like are going to be pushing us out of our comfort zone. Like episode 11, we're doing we did like a random spin like on a wheel to get like random 2-color combinations, and we just had to build whatever deck that was. I got Gruul. I don't like playing Gruul. Steven got Izzet. He doesn't like playing Izzet, but it's pushing us out of our comfort zone, and I think that's healthy. You know?
Yeah, like I got Rakdos, and I've literally never once in my life built a Rakdos deck. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. What did you get on that one, Preston?
I got Dimir, and it's the only episode this season I'm not excited for.
Really?
Yeah.
He's
Because I already have a cool Dimir deck, and every other Dimir deck option is basically just that deck, but slightly changed.
That's fair.
yeah.
Or zombies, but I
was
didn't
gonna
have
say,
enough
or
zombie stuff
zombies.
to build around.
Yeah.
Michael
'Cause you
Seeger
guys are also doing it off of mostly stuff you already have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. The other thing was like you can buy a commander if you need a commander for that color pair, but otherwise you have to use cards you already have. Michael Seegert says he has a foil Guy's Cradle. I don't know how you got that, but hold on to that for the rest of your life.
Keep that thing in a safe. Like,
Hold on to that for the rest of your life, man. Take care of it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start. So at this point, that's all of the backed up. Oh, I had one on my phone. I'll pull it out in a second after I read the next question. At this point, if you guys have questions in the chat, we're going to be here for another 20 minutes or so. So if you have other questions you want us to answer, start dropping them in the chat. We'll try to get to them all if we have time. We'll try to keep this short. Let me pull up a question on here before I pull up the one on my phone. ED or EDH or Scryfall? I would say Scryfall, but I'm still getting used to it. So EDH rec for now, but I like Scryfall a lot. I'm just not used to it yet.
I like to use Scryfall to start. I like to build most of my decks as much on my own as possible, and then I will check EDH rec after the fact to maybe add a few cards that I somehow missed my first go around.
Yeah.
That's usually what I do.
That's a good way to use EDH rec is just to like fill in the holes. It's like, is there anything I forgot about? You know?
I'm EDH rec all the way. I like EDH rec a lot.
Jason doesn't like to think until it's time to play.
Exactly.
It's time to play the game.
You know, if I have a certain combo that I, like, oh, these cards would be really cool, I'll do that. But majority of the time, I just scroll through EDH rec, look at the high synergy cards, look at the creatures, enchantments, artifacts, whatever. I'm like, oh, this fits the theme. This fits what I'm trying to do here. Cool, I'll add that in.
yeah. Well, I'm relatively new to the format, newer than these guys are for sure. So I take any and all sources of information I can get. So I've used both of them. I've used all kinds of different sources.
Yeah, both are great tools.
So
And
they're both great tools. They both work well. So
a lot of us also use the Mana Box app, which has not. it's not as in depth as like Scryfall or EDH Rec, but it's a great way to be like, I need a card that kind of does this. There is like a tool in there to help you find those cards and has pricing information. It lets you build your deck on there. It's a great app. If you haven't used Mana Box, check it out. The other previously submitted question that I forgot about is this is from a friend of mine. This is a goofy one, but if you could be any kind of flooring, what would you want to be? Example: carpet, tile, linoleum.
You got to be hardwood, right? Like that's the
mean,
only real option.
Yeah.
Carpet would be an awful choice.
I don't know. I mean, if you're carpet, you're more likely to at least sometimes get physical affection and cuddles.
Well, yeah, but you know, like just imagine, like
Just statistically.
you're a carpet, right? And a dog lives in there. And
That's a good point.
That's
now,
a terrible existence.
You don't
Now-
even need a dog. Just regular people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, is a
But that would
regular
make it worse,
person
but-
just gonna just pee on the carpet for no reason?
Well,
Sober?
even nice.
Small people.
Sober?
I have a baby in the house. They would if they.
gonna say,
I
you were
guess
given
you're
the
right.
choice. Well, thanks for the silly question.
To answer
Brooke.
your question, personally, I would be a bear carpet.
A bear, like a
That's
bear,
like a rug.
You mean
I
a
don't know.
rug?
If
I don't know.
counts,
That
but-
kind of counts.
Yeah.
You gotta kill a lot of
rug.
bears to turn the whole thing into a carpet. You
I
gotta
could do it.
kill
No
a
one said I
lot
had
of
to build
bears.
a whole, like, cover the whole floor, just flooring.
I guess.
My number two answer would probably be, I don't know. Just move on.
For me, marble tiles.
Yes. There you
Oh,
go.
That's
marble
right.
tiles, dope.
Yeah.
See, yeah.
I love marble tile. Brett Johnson wants to know what, if any, kind of budgetary restrictions do you put? Depends. If it's a deck I'm going to play a lot, I don't have a budget. I'm just like, I'm going to dedicate the time and money and cards that I need to put into it. But if it's a deck that I'm like, I'm only going to like play it every now and then, I don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on it. So that's my answer. Other than the couple times I've specifically built budget decks, and when we do budget decks, we usually do like $50.
Yeah.
But if it's a deck I'm going to play a lot, I don't worry about budget. I just like eventually I'm going to build up to this, and sometimes that means the deck is expensive, but that just is what it is. I want it to be the way I want it to be.
Well, and you kind of said that eventually you'll get there. You know, we're not.
Yeah.
A lot of us all of us have decks that we've had for years and have just slowly added on. We'll buy a piece or two, and then go a while maybe without buying a new piece for it. And so it's like, yeah, the on paper it's worth a good amount of money, but did we spend all that money right off the bat?
No.
We
Well,
spent that over a course of a long time. So it's like it's kind of a budget, but kind of not. So
the
that's
game
the
next game that comes out, so the one that comes out on the 20th, I'm playing my group hug deck, and that's one of my favorite decks, but it's my second most expensive deck.
Kenrith, baby.
Yeah, Kenrith. I'm getting all of the space shock lands from Unfinity in it, and those are expensive.
Not cheap. Yeah.
So I've only bought like 2 of them. So like that's just like something that I'm just gonna like have to slowly do over time because it's expensive, but you know that's how I want it, so I'm gonna do it.
For me, when it comes to building a new deck, I don't really like have a set budget that I stick with. The first thing that I'll always do if I'm building a new deck is I'll look in my collection. I'll be like, okay, what decks don't I really play that much, and can I take cards from that to add to the new deck? And then after that, it's just I will get whatever cards I need to make the deck do what I want it to do. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to go buy the best option, the most expensive option, for everything. But I just, I just want, when I play the deck, I want it to do what I built it to do, and I want to have a good time with it. And just because I've amassed a good amount of collection of good cards, I don't really have to spend a ton of money whenever I build a new deck. I just pull out the expensive cards. And a lot of decks, what I'll do is I'll just move them around. Like, I'll move a Rhystic Study or a Teferi's Protection or a Cyclonic Rift. I'll move it to whatever deck I'm playing. Yeah, it just, to me, you set a budget like that, and it could potentially take away the fun that you're having with the deck, unless you're doing it for like a purpose. Like, I got $50. Let's see what I can do with a $50 deck. If it's something like that, I'm all about it.
What about you two?
So me, what I typically do is I'll build a deck on my whatever app I'm using. I won't think too much about the budget at the moment. I'll put it on TCG Player, and when I look at the price point, I'll see, okay, does looking at this price point make me sad? If we're good to go, ship it. If not, maybe we make a couple changes real quick.
Yeah.
With this
Well,
game,
and here's a good,
most of the time, yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is an expensive hobby, guys.
Paper Magic is an expensive hobby.
That's the other good thing. If we did do a Magic Online series, is like we could afford to play for cheaper, because you can even build a lot of decks for just using the rental program, and then just basically play your deck for free once you build your account, which is like $10. So yeah, that's a great way to do it.
And once you buy one card, you can put that card in every single deck.
Exactly. Yeah. What about you, Steven? Do you have anything for budget?
No, I just kind of just start building a deck, and then I'll just make additions as I go along.
Yeah.
And
that's a good way to do it too. Just build something that's functional. I've done that before, where I'll build like a budget version of a deck just so I can start playing it, and I'll upgrade it slowly over time. But a good way to think about it, and this is for like a lot of those pricey staples that we were talking about earlier, is a good way to think about it is like, if you're about to buy a $20 card, does it make your deck $20 better? That's a weird way to think about it, but I think it makes sense. Like, is it good enough of a card to justify that? And if the answer is like no or not really, don't do it. That's a good way to do it.
But if the budget version of it,
yeah, or like a lot
try.
of cards, I think like sometimes that doesn't work. Like Teferi's Protection.
well, there's not really a budget version.
There's not like a great. There's like kind of substitutes for that card, but not really. So like there are exceptions that you might just have to bite the bullet, unfortunately. But if it's like a $20-$30 card, maybe more, and it's not one of the best cards in your deck, or it's not like vital to your strategy, I would venture on probably don't buy it.
At the end of the day, I think it's just like whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you can afford, and still eat. Because like I could go and spend $100 a week on cards for my decks, but then I couldn't, eat food, and I like that. As you can tell, I'm a big dude, but even I got to survive. So I mean, that's also kind of another turn zero kind of discussion of power level isn't necessarily one-on-one with the cost or the value of a deck, but it's a pretty good indicator. And so it's like, if you're rolling up with a $2,000 deck to a budget week, maybe don't. maybe go, hey guys.
Steven's the cheapest person I know.
I was gonna say, like, of all the ones here, Steven is who you go for. No, but like that again is just kind of that turn zero conversation of like, all right, what's kind of the power level of the group of the table that we're going for.
I want to
play to that.
We only have like 12 more minutes. I mean, we can go a little over time. I'm not that worried about it. We can go a little over time.
If they're good questions.
If they're good questions, I want to try to get through, but let's try to keep it a little quicker. Paige wants to know. Hi, Paige.
Hi, Paige.
Paige.
She's
we miss you.
She's in episode 1 and 6 of our series. Go watch those games if you haven't. She wants to know if we have a favorite artist, like for doing the art. Mine is probably Chris Ron. He's great. He's done a ton of classic art. He just did a Secret Lair. I did an unboxing for it here on the channel. But he's done a lot of just awesome cards. Like he did, I think he did the new Tiamat. He did Tireless Tracker, decent amount of Innistrad stuff actually, and then his Secret Lair that he just did. One of the cards he did is Kozilek, the Great Distortion, and it's that new art is so good. So that's probably my answer, because he
You have that new art one, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Because it showed up a day after we recorded the episode where you played Kozilek.
Yeah, it came in the mail the day after we recorded that episode. I was really annoyed, but I was thinking about it, and it'll depend on how the next game that I'm in goes. But I think for the last episode of the series or the season, we're gonna everyone bring back a deck that they thought didn't quite get there, and I think I'm gonna play my Kozilek deck again. Yeah. I might not, but I think I am.
Yeah.
But what about you guys? Do you have a favorite artist, or just like
My favorite is Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. I mean, obviously.
I do have some lands that he's made. Yeah.
I would say mine is Amy Weber, just because my favorite art on any Magic card in existence is Time Walk, the original Time Walk. That art is just, it's trippy and it's just cool, and I love the skeleton people with clocks on their faces. I don't know, it's really cool. I love that art. I want to get a playmat of that. So I'd probably just say Amy Weber because of that.
I don't pay much attention to the artists on each card. There's one that stands out. I'll kind of look at like who the artist is and see what their other stuff is. But I know that the artist Frank Frazetta just did this year did a secret layer drop, and those look incredible. So those look very nice. I am highly considering. I think I'm going to pull the trigger on it. It looks really good, and I know he's done a lot of like old school monsters and magic type, fantasy art. So it's pretty dope. So I'd probably him for magic.
Kellogg's Loop did a secret lair, and I don't know if he's done a lot of other magic art or if he's just done the secret lair. Some of my favorite art, that new Mystic Remora. Oh, I love it so much. But that's another great thing about, I know people are like mixed feelings about secret layers, but I think that is a positive to them as it gives other artists a chance to contribute to this game. But do you have an answer, or was Bob Ross your actual answer?
I don't have an actual answer.
I don't really either. I'm bad at keeping up with
Uncultured.
Yeah.
It's not like I had to look up on my phone who did the art
I saw you
for
doing
Time
that, so I
Walk.
was gonna say.
No, yeah, I had to Google that. But I do love that art.
It is.
It's just hard
good.
because
It's a good one.
most magic art at this point looks good.
Especially in the last few years, most of the art is just
Early magic,
hit and
But
miss.
that's why I
Yikes,
like Time
early
Walk a lot, because that's a really early, in the game magic card, and it just looks beautiful.
A
So it's
rare,
really, really
rare
cool.
example of good art from the early days of Magic.
Also, the guy who did the original Ristic study, his name's Jason something, I think. I can't remember his last name.
I like that art.
But that art is really, really cool too.
You know my favorite artist actually, the kids from that one secret layer.
Yes, I was also going to say
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah. So we have a couple
I
on the wall
have
over
a couple
there.
more on the wall here. Actually, this one's Mark Rosewater.
Huh.
Who did the photogriff?
Like his son?
No, like actually
Oh.
Mark Rosewater.
Well, he's definitely not my favorite.
He didn't try hard on that one at all,
Yeah,
did he?
No, he didn't. Kadeho wants to know if we have any plans to make a Discord group. I'm just now getting used to Discord in the last month. The answer is yes. I'm re-figuring out how to do the Patreon thing. Now that it looks like that this might be like a somewhat sufficient form of at least side income for me. So I think we would probably be like, if you are on Patreon at any point, like even $1 a month, that you can get access to the Discord. Currently, that's what I'm thinking, but I haven't decided for sure. I might just not care and just give it access to everyone, but I'm not sure yet. We'll see.
At least like a special role. Those are
Or maybe there's
thing.
we'll figure it out. But yes, I would like to get a Discord going, because also if we do end up doing Spell Table series, that would be a great way to get connected, and maybe we could have some of our fans on the show to do Spell Table. That'd be
pretty
pretty
sweet.
cool. And Discord would be a great way to get in touch with people to do
We'd love to have you if you'd love to join us.
Yeah.
You get to watch me play solitaire. It'll be great.
We're very lonely. We could always use more friends.
What are your favorite strategies or styles of play? Examples: Voltron, Aristocrats, tokens, combos, etc.
Well, Jason and I both like tokens.
Tokens.
I don't have a favorite. That's why I have so many decks. But I am like a pseudo control player. I guess tempo. Tempo is the good answer. I like to do something like early game. Just let me set up. I'm going to do my best to control the board at least a little bit. And
You
then
like to have something to do all game.
yeah, and then later in the game, then I'm going to try to do something that'll win me the game. That's kind of so tempo, I guess, is the right answer. Like slower end of mid range, borderline control. That's probably my favorite style, but I don't know. That's why I have so many decks. What about you guys?
Can we do something real quick? Can the four of us all at the same time say what we think Preston's favorite play style is?
I'm gonna get it
on
wrong.
three?
So
On three.
1, 2, 3. Life gain.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't really like
I
that.
don't know about that one, Chief.
No,
Are
but
we wrong?
no. I mean, I do play life gain in almost every deck, as you should if you're a good commander player.
You should have some at least, but yeah.
I mean,
But,
incidental life gain is a good idea, but being like, I have 10 cards in my deck that gain me life, that's overkill.
That's-
Yeah,
a
no.
life
I'm not,
gain
I'm
deck.
not saying that.
Congrats, you have a life gain sub theme now.
Yeah.
Like,
But I don't know. I think I've gotten pretty good at having a large selection of different decks that do different things at this point.
Yeah, no, you definitely do. It's
But yeah,
life
life
game
gain
is
is
like
probably
a
the most
consistent
common.
theme.
Like I have graveyard decks, token decks, artifact decks. I've got most of the different ones. Like I don't do
You got a good
control-y
variety.
decks
Yeah,
usually. That's not really something I enjoy. But besides that,
Preston just does. Preston, I think, consistently likes to tap out on his turn. You know, like he likes to do something big and awesome on his turn.
I like
he doesn't
to play my turn and spend your guys' turn thinking about my next turn.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have to
That's
leave up
accurate,
two.
though.
He doesn't want to have to leave up 2 blue mana and be like, are any of these spells worth countering?
Yeah.
I'll Teferi's Protection every once in a while. That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I like I said before, I'm newer to the format. I have a lot of fun with tribal though. Tribal decks are always
I
a
used
good
to be
time.
big in tribal.
And I've never really built a tokens deck, so that'll probably be the next one I build.
They're fun, man. They're
Y'all look like you have fun over there
They're
with
a
them.
good
So,
time.
and
I have
I've
the,
been stomped several times by both of your token decks.
and there's
so.
a ton of different options. For
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
and
So it's just that'll probably be my next one. But
There
of the
are-
ones I have now, probably tribal is just the most fun for me to play.
Tribal is just a great way to get new players interested into the game as
Yeah.
well, because like
That's probably the best one.
I've
for
had
new
a lot
players.
of tribal decks over the years. I think currently I only have like 2, maybe 3. But yeah, it's just a great way for people to start off. But then what was the other one? Tokens. Yeah, there are some that are like objectively better options, but like there
Always,
are
but-
so many just decent options for tokens that you could really do it in any color even.
Yep.
So it's cool. Perk wants to know, are there any sets that you're looking forward to? I'm really looking forward to going back to Ixalan because I think that they probably are upping the power, if I had to guess. And I actually think that the second half of the year is going to be awesome because we're also going back to Eldraine, and I think they fixed the power level on that. I think they probably toned down Eldraine a little bit, and they probably toned up Ixalan a little bit. So I think both of those sets are going to be really fun.
I think it's interesting that you say that, you know, considering Ixalan was a set that had Zakama in it.
Rivals was better, but
Rivals of Ixalan
original
was okay,
Ixalan was
but
kind of poopy.
Okay.
And honestly, while Ixalan was in standard, like there were like 1 or 2 cards from that set that had to be banned in standard, but like standard
Dockside.
was so boring. Like when that set was legal, it was so boring. And playing draft for that set was also like eh.
Yeah, having 4 tribes and
like-
3 of them kind of sucked didn't make for a great standard.
Look, honestly, dinosaurs as a tribe, awesome. But were they good? Eh.
In Commander, maybe, but
In
not
Commander.
standard.
Yeah.
But you know, in Commander, like if you're gonna run dinosaurs, you run like Atlapalani. Like that's the egg one, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's like the only dinosaur commander I've ever seen besides Giganta.
I forget what it's called. I have it. It's just I've been a while since I've played with it.
Yeah, the
The other 3-color dinosaur.
the Naya one from the first Ixalan set.
Yeah, the one that's not Zakama.
Yeah. Zakama's sweet though.
Zakama is so cool.
Not even a good dinosaur commander though. It's just
He's
like
not.
it's just
He's
here's a
not.
9 mana good card. Yeah. What about you Tommy? Is there anything specific in the near future that you're looking forward to?
I mean,
Let me flip it around. Is there a world in Magic you would want us to go back to again in the near future? If not this year, just in a future relatively soon year.
Probably Kaldheim, just because like that set was. I've heard good things. I took a very long break between the times that I've played Magic in my life, and I'm not very well versed on the lore and well as just sets and their power level in general. But I just know I've heard good things about Kaldheim. So going back there with a set like that would be cool. I will say the new Phyrexia set does look pretty sweet. That looks like it might be pretty cool.
Well, and Kaldheim was really cool, but the problem is that it was so deep and convoluted, and we were only there for one set because they don't do blocks anymore.
Yeah.
If they did it like 2 sets or something like that, I think that would have made it a lot better. So I think going back to Kaldheim probably would be a good idea.
In the same vein, overall, I would like to spend more time in each kind of world or plane we go to. But
yeah, I actually
that's
miss
the
doing
long-
blocks.
Yeah, blocks would be cool.
It also just made draft and sealed more interesting too, because like a lot of the time when they would do the second set in a block, they would be like, all right, we'll open packs from the new set, but you're also going to open one pack from the last set, you know, just to like mix it up, you know, or some variation of that. It just made limited a lot more interesting. So I think our last question that we'll take for the day, unless something awesome pops up in the last 5 seconds it takes to answer this question. Last question I think we'll have for the day is, if you could beat up a cartoon character, who would it be and why?
I'm so glad that you did this, because if you asked a different question, I was going to insist that we answer Michael's question. I was going to insist we do.
Why don't we start with Morgan? Morgan, who would you like to beat up?
If I had to beat up any, probably Bugs Bunny, because I just hate his smug ass so much. He's so like,
He does need to be humbled. I agree.
he needs.
Sure, I mean, you're right. You're right.
I'm not saying I need to like, you know, end his life or anything, but I'm just
beat him
saying
up
he
a little
needs
Just
a
remind him who's
reminder
boss,
that
like.
well, he just needs a reminder on where his place in the food chain is, I think, you know. He's so
when your primary predator is Elmer Fudd, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be.
I don't think he's been humbled enough in his life. That's right. Yeah. That's my answer.
I need to think more about it, so why don't someone else go
Jason
first?
was pretty adamant. Let's see. I want to hear yours,
Yeah.
Jason.
Okay.
Here we go.
If I was going to beat anybody up in cartoon, it would be Squidward. Squidward gives SpongeBob and Patrick so much crap.
And honestly, for no reason.
They're just trying to live their lives and be happy and catch jellyfish and work at the Krusty Krab. Leave them alone. Why are you so negative all the time, Squidward? Is it your nose? Are you mad about your nose?
Okay, when they break into his house, it's fine, but when he's just being an ass in general.
Yeah. I mean, there are
if
situations where it's like, if I was Squidward, I'd be mad too. But like,
if
for
they
the most
break
part, I
and
agree.
enter into his house, then yeah, I'd get upset too. But just, you know, them running around laughing and swinging their jellyfish nets, and he's just angry. Like, come on, dude. Come on. Just get off it, okay?
Michael says that his answer would be everyone in the Rugrats.
The babies?
Hey, there's
You would
adults
beat
too.
up the babies?
Man,
There are adults in that show.
they're
So
Michael,
he said
why?
everyone.
You know,
so.
they're just Jason. They're just different over there in Europe. Okay, they just.
Michael, why? What did these babies do to you?
Does anyone else have a good answer? You've had time to think about it now, Steven. Come on.
No, I haven't.
I can go.
All right, Preston.
I'm going to pick two.
Okay.
I'm going to finally shut up the debate between Goku and Superman. I'm going to beat them both to death. Can he defeat Goku? Yes, I can. Superman, easy clap. I fooled them both. Low diff.
Them both.
Doomsday
like a
made it
chair.
look hard, but I'm going to make it look easy. Okay. Did everyone answer that question?
Steven
we're
has
still
it.
waiting.
Steven has
Tommy
it.
Tommy, have
hasn't
you
either.
answered? Come on, there's got to be someone. There's
don't
got to be
know,
some
man.
character in some cartoon you saw as a kid where you're like, man, that guy's the worst.
I mean,
What about like
No,
the
you know
bully
what?
from Danny Phantom?
that he was kind of a jerk. No, I would beat up the I don't remember what his name was, but the officer dude that sends Perry the Platypus on missions because it's been confirmed. No, listen to me. It's been confirmed he doesn't pay him. He doesn't get benefits. I think it's in one episode it said he gets college credit. Like, what the hell is that?
What is he studying in college?
Exactly, he's a platypus. I mean, it's just Perry gets a raw end of the deal in that. So I'd beat him up just for my boy Perry out there.
Yeah, honestly, mad respect to Perry the Platypus. What a go-getter,
What a
you know?
G.
I love that show.
Such a good show.
Dude, Michael is going in on all of the Rugrats. He lit all caps, all of them.
I respect that. I respect that.
I respect that
Sticks to
opinion.
his guns. I respect it. Yeah.
I respect it. Double down on what you believe in, Michael.
We're still waiting on Steve.
Yeah, Steven, come on, answer this question. We'll wrap up the video.
Okay.
Any
Oh my
cartoon
God.
I'm gonna go. I'm trying to.
Your
really-
answers take longer than your turns in Magic.
Oh,
That should tell you about my play style.
take longer than my turns do.
Well,
Well, okay, but you're doing things on your turn. Steven's sitting there like, oh yeah, I forgot to draw.
Yeah, you guys
Not
don't
like
see
that.
this, but there's probably like a whole like hour and a half
Oh,
worth of footage just
yes.
from
You can
editing
cut
out
So
Steven's
much of the show.
silence.
It's
So
insane.
I think the best example, and we've gotten in on average. We've gotten into a better rhythm, but the longest game we've recorded so far was episode 2, which I think we cut that video down to 50 minutes, I think. The unedited version of that game, which granted, there was a lot of new cards in those decks.
Was it
but
almost like 3 hours?
It was, no, but it was like an hour and 40 minutes or
Yeah.
something crazy like that. Like, it was a long game. So, like, yeah, you guys don't see that because I cut it all out, but there's just like, for every game, there's probably, for every second of something actually happening, there's another second of Tommy staring at his hand, not knowing what to do. All right?
Yeah.
All right, Steven, we've stalled for you enough. You have an answer now, right?
Okay, so y'all seen The Amazing World of Gumball?
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna go with. Do you know the purple character Tobias? Not him, but his father.
Wait.
I think
I don't
you
know
got too much of a
enough.
deep cut for us there.
Yeah.
Walk me through through it
So-
again. So it's Tobias. And which one's
Tobias.
he?
He's like the rainbow guy.
Yeah.
Not him, but his father.
I don't
He
remember.
like I remember there's like one whole episode where like he's just like toying with like Gumball's dad like the entire episode, and I'm just like, this dude needs to.
I'll leave it to Steven to have that be his answer.
Too much of a deep cut
Yeah,
for me.
that's a-
I'm not
that's a-
I'm not
that's a
familiar
weird
enough with
one,
that
yeah.
show.
Well, I don't watch a lot of.
Who's
cartoons.
Mojo Jojo?
Yeah.
You don't know Mojo Jojo?
Oh, that's the
Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah, Powerpuff Girls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good answer. Yes.
Uncultured.
yeah, but they
Uncultured.
Dude, I haven't seen that since I was like 4 years old.
They also
okay?
beat his ass on the daily,
I
like
think
on
it probably ended when I was like
daily.
3 years
on
old.
site with him. Like they kick his ass
You
on
mean
the
the
daily.
show
I
meant for
think, I think he's
10-year-old
good.
girls doesn't still hold your interest right now?
No,
Pathetic.
surprisingly not.
I can't believe you, Morgan. I thought I knew you.
Well, thanks for joining our little live stream. Thank you for getting us to 1,000 subscribers. That means a lot to us. Things are just going to keep getting better over here. I'm sure we'll do this again sometime. We got more gameplays coming up. Again, we're filming one in like 10 minutes here. I'm sure we'll do more live streams. We'll rack up more questions, or we'll have something fun to do. Jason mentioned maybe we should live stream a Commander game sometime. I think that would
That'd
be
be
really
cool.
fun. I don't know what the best way to do that is, but we will definitely look into doing that at some point. Yeah, thanks for joining, guys. We will catch you later. Any last notes from
If
anyone
you're
else?
watching this after the live stream, if you're watching it, leave a comment down below if you want us to live stream a Commander game.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna be long. Gonna be a
Okay,
very
bye.
long game.
Later, y'all.
Was that it, Steven?
Yeah,
Is that all you had to
it's gonna be
say?
long.
Goodbye.